Hey guys, welcome to our Game of Thrones weekly chat. It's Daniel and Johnny. Season 6, episode 1 just premiered on HBO.
Yes, sir.
And it started off with the big cliffhanger from last season, which was Jon Snow. And there was a lot of talk of they were going to bring him back and kind of reveal what was going to happen. They didn't really do that. They kind of just started off with that, and we didn't really get anything clear.
Yeah, I mean, I figured that it's only the first episode of the season, so
Definitely.
and there's no clear answer as to what exactly is going to happen. So
They didn't close anything, but they left it wide open. Like anything could still happen.
yeah, so they opened with that, and then we went to Winterfell, and we saw the aftermath of the battle that happened at the end of last season with Stannis, and he got killed by Brienne. And as we saw at the end of last season, Theon came around and got Sansa and escaped. And so they were getting chased through the woods, and the hounds of the Boltons, and they're cornered, and then out of the darkness to save the day is Brienne and Podrick.
Yeah, and it looks like Theon is pretty much out of his reek state.
Yeah, he's definitely scarred, but he's like he kind of has like a little plan. Like,
yeah, he can like barely speak, but he was definitely helpful. Like he's not under control of the Ramsay Bolton anymore.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then we saw Cersei in King's Landing, and she found out when Jaime was coming up in the boat that Marcella was dead.
Yep. And then we went to King's Landing, and you saw Cersei finally found out that Marcella was poisoned at the end of last season because they arrived in King's Landing, and Jaime and her discussed their mother, and how she died, and how that's like impacted her, and they lost Tywin, they lost Joffrey, and now they lost Marcella. So there's basically they're gonna go all out now. You know what I mean? Yeah. They're gonna try to get revenge on everyone, and then we also went to Dorne and saw kind of the aftermath that was going on there too.
Yeah, was he the king?
Yeah,
got killed by his sister, and she was basically justifying that by saying that he hadn't done anything for their sister and brother that had gotten killed previously, and they also killed his son, who I think was heir to the throne.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
And they she had like her minions kill him as well. They're pretty brutal there, those girls.
The Sand Snakes?
Yeah, pretty brutal. And we also went to Marine and saw Tyrion.
Yeah, Tyrion and Varys, they are pretty much stationed there and trying to run things while Daenerys is out of the picture, and they're obviously they have to think about the group that's running around the city and killing all these people and whatnot, and so they're just kind of nothing really big happened with them. They're just walking around trying to figure out what exactly they're going to do, and they kind of left them off with all the ships in the bay burning. So that's a problem that they're gonna have to deal with. Obviously, no one can really come in and go out or anything like that. So,
and to keep going on that, in the jump to next week, what you're gonna see next week thing, and we've seen in some of the press releases that Tyrion is gonna try to let the dragons out.
Yeah, it seems that way.
And I don't know how he's gonna do that. I'm really interested because it seemed like Daenerys was gonna have a hard time with that, and let alone Tyrion doing it by himself. I don't know how that's gonna happen, but Arya was also featured for a few moments in that episode. She is blind fully now.
Yeah, well, who knows what's gonna happen with that?
That's probably one of the storylines I know least about, just because I literally have no idea what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I don't know where that's gonna. I mean, that whole situation she's dealing with
is very strange.
It'll be interesting. And what happened with Arya in this episode was she's blind. She's like begging on the street, and then this girl comes up, and she has these two sticks, and she hands one to her, and she beats the crap out of Arya. And she's like trying to get her to fight her, but she's blind. So, and then at the end of it, after she beats her up, she says, "I'll be back." And
tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's part of the training, for what she's doing.
Yeah, there's definitely gonna be training, but I mean, what the hell, Yeah. I mean, I'm like you said, I'm definitely curious about the end game to the whole situation.
Yeah. And also the newly formed Castle Blackguard basically gave an ultimatum to Davos and Davos.
And then at the very end of the episode, they went back to Castle Black, and there's obviously a big standoff between Davos and the few guys that he trusts and that were backing Jon Snow, and the rest of the Night's Watch that pretty much assassinated him.
Yeah. They sent out one of the guys to go meet up with the wildlings.
We think. Right. Yeah.
We think. Yeah. And they've been waiting throughout the episode, so there's going to be this standoff, and what I think is going to happen is they're going to get saved, maybe.
You gotta hope so.
Something like that.
I don't know what else they can do. I mean, they kind of said it, like you said at the beginning, they were talking about, there are people that owe a debt to Jon Snow, so they could come and try to stand up now that he's dead. But at the end, they also kind of alluded to the fact that the Red Woman, Melisandre, could play a part in helping them defend Jon Snow. And
in the last episode, the Red Woman, who I thought was about to catch the last scene, the Red Woman, I thought was going to put a spell or something and get them out of this situation. She took off a necklace.
Yeah.
And she's like a 100-year-old woman.
She's older than that. She's who knows how old she is. Which
I thought was a possibility, but I was just like...
Yeah,
it was really
she's obviously... She's magical. She's a witch.
Yeah, so she could be hundreds of years old. We don't
know.
Who
knows? I'm interested to see where that's going to go. Because she did that and then she just crawled back into bed.
Yeah, she got into bed and
that's
thinking she's just going to die like Lady in the Titanic. Just got to go off. And somewhere in the thousands of pages of George R. R. Martin's writings, people were just like, okay, the Red Woman is going to save Jon somehow.
Well, she's brought people back to life before.
Yeah.
So it's also, obviously that's always a possibility.
It's not a stretch to think that that's going to happen at all.
Hopefully.
Oh, because we kind of rewatched the last scene before the episode started when Jon got assassinated. Mm-hmm. And we were just like, oh no. And then they showed it again when the episode started.
Yeah.
Oh god. Was there anything that stood out you didn't understand in the episode, or you were just kind of eh?
No, everything in the episode continued, picked right up where the season ended last time with all the different storylines. And we didn't get to see it in this episode, which I was kind of hoping that we would, but it's not a knock or anything to the episode. It's that Bran was out all last season, and I'm definitely interested in where they're going to go from where he was. So I just wanted to see that, but I'm kind of glad that they're saving it for next week.
Yeah, I didn't really like that character too much before, but I was after a year away, I was oh, I really want to see, because he's supposed to be super powerful now after being with the Three-Eyed Raven guy for so long. The storyline I don't like is the High Sparrow thing. I don't like how Tommen is a king, right? And
he is the king, yeah.
And he's supposed to be powerful, and then his wife is just he just let them take her. I know he doesn't want to cause bloodshed by going and take her.
Well, I think it's cool because it's the whole evolution we've seen throughout the series to this point, the first 6 seasons, is we saw Joffrey for the first 3 seasons be a total fucking dick, and he was the worst king ever. He was murdering people left and right.
Yeah.
The whole city hated him. The whole all Westeros hated him, and then now Tommen. I think that's such a cool dynamic because he wants to be powerful. He wants to do all these things, but he doesn't want to be Joffrey. He doesn't want to make the same mistakes. So I think it's cool.
Yeah.
I think Tommen will come through eventually. And
I just don't like it. I don't know. It's totally different, and I know why they did it, but I just don't like it. And I don't like that they just got run over by this group that we kind of were just introduced to not that long ago. And I don't know. I just don't like it.
It's easy for me to believe because it's religion based, and when it comes to that, it's all gloves are off.
I do know at some point this season something's going down.
So, yeah, definitely. Especially when you see how in this episode Jaime and Cersei were we're taking back everything.
Yeah. And I hope Jaime just kills all of them.
I hope he kills all of them. Yeah, definitely.
I just don't like
the High Sparrow needs to go.
I don't like those characters at all. So
he needs to get killed off ASAP.
I want Jaime just to kill. So.
Yeah, I agree.
What is your quick final review of the show?
I really liked it, especially for a season premiere. It picked up exactly where it should have in all the different characters. And it got me excited to see what's going to happen with the rest of the season. So I'd say it's just, and there was some shock value, especially with the Dorne situation, where those characters just got wiped. So I'm excited to see where that goes. I'm excited to see where everything goes. I would say it's I'd say it's an 8.5.
That's literally, I'm going to give it an 8.5 too.
Okay.
So come back next week for season 6, episode 2, discussion and review. And thanks for watching.